Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us once again. This is a new edition of the AVSIA Showcases. In the showcases, we invite one company to tell us about their solutions and how they can help your businesses, either as an end user of solar energy or as a stakeholder in the solar industry as an installer. You'll hear some amazing updates from Nick in just a few moments. But for those of you who might not know Nick, let me give you a very brief background. This gentleman comes with almost 20 years of experience in the solar industry worldwide. And what I particularly like about his background is that he's really been touching on the different aspects of solar energy as an installer, as a consultant, in the distribution business, and nowadays, really as an equipment specialist, being the vice president at Huawei Digital Power for the Eastern African region. For those of you who have known Nick from his time before Huawei, he's worked with very popular companies such as Jubilee Solar, Tahoe Solar, Sungate Energy Solutions. And also he studied business administrations at the United States International University. So that's a very brief background about you, Nick. Thank you so much for joining us today. Very pleased to have you, and I'm handing over to you now.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for your time here today. My name is Nick Lusson, and thank you for the gracious introduction, John. As he mentioned, I have been in the solar industry doing lots of different things as an installer and consultant and other parts of the industry. And today I'm working with Huawei, and I'm here to show you about Huawei's C&I ESS solutions. So C&I is commercial and industrial, and ESS is energy storage. Very important topic right now. I'm going to explain why we are so excited about this product range and why it's important. And then we're going to show you our newest product, new products. This is actually a shift in the mindset of this storage space. And I'm going to show you what I mean by all of that. So let's begin. I'm going to start with an overview of Huawei to let you know who we are, and especially the digital power division. So Huawei is a very large company. I'm sure you have heard of us in some way or form before. Huawei has over 200,000 employees worldwide, and we are present in over 170 countries and regions. So basically in every country in sub-Saharan Africa, we have at least one office and a staff of several people. Recently, we were number 6 on the Fortune 500, the global Fortune 500. And that's the list of the biggest companies in the world. Recently, we were number 4 investor in R&D in the world. That's research and development. And actually, we've been number 2, we've been number 5. So we're usually in the top 5 of companies that invest in research and development in the whole world. Now, this is important because Huawei is a very innovative company. Because of all of this research and development, Huawei is always leading our markets. We are not following other companies. Other companies follow us. We are always developing new features and new products, and we see other companies follow us. This is very true in the solar industry as well. And as you can see, 55% of our employees are in research and development. That is a huge commitment and investment. And here you can see Huawei's revenue. You can see over several years, in 2020, we exceeded 137 billion USD. And you can see healthy growth every year. And the reason I show you this is because there are several companies in the solar industry that are very young, maybe 4 years or 5 years old. And usually the solar equipment has long warranties, 10 years, 15 years, or 20 years. So sometimes you have to wonder, will these new companies really be in business in 5 years or 10 years? We don't know. But with Huawei, you can be sure we will still be in business through the life of your warranty. So you don't have to worry about us going anywhere. We're a very large, very healthy company, and we keep our warranties. So here is a quick map showing that our products are used all over the world. We have more than 25 gigawatt hours have been shipped. This has been, even though these products are new, they're based on more than 10 years of research and development. You can see our products are used in Guatemala, Chile, Spain, Ghana, South Africa, UK, Sweden, China, Singapore, all over the world. And Huawei is the only company that has a strong presence across all scenarios. We have strong residential products with millions and millions of homeowners using our residential products. We have strong C&I products with hundreds of megawatt hours of capacity and also utility scale, with also hundreds of megawatt hours of capacity used all over the world. So for residential, C&I, or utility, we have a end-to-end solution for you. Today, I'm going to focus on C&I ESS. And the reason that I'm going to speak about this is because of the energy crisis that is all over Africa. So load shedding is getting worse. That is particularly true in South Africa, but all over the continent. The grid reliability is a problem. The grid stability is a problem. Blackouts are frequent, but also the price of electricity continues to go up all over the continent, and the price of diesel continues to go up. So electricity is more expensive and less reliable than ever. This is a big problem for businesses, for C&I, the commercial and industrial space. Oftentimes, they small fluctuations in the grid or even short blackouts can cause a lot of loss in terms of money and business. So this is a big problem. And the fact that it's always more expensive, even if the prices come down just a little bit, they go back up even higher soon. So it's always going to get more expensive. And the price of batteries has continued to fall. Just like we've seen the price of solar panels over the last decade fall steeply, the same is happening with lithium ion batteries. And now we are at the point of parity. What that means is now it's a financially viable decision to add batteries because of the high cost of grid, high cost of diesel, and because of reliability issues. And this trend is only going to increase. So we predict that already this year we've seen it happen, and next year it's going to continue, that more and more businesses across the continent are going to look at energy storage solutions. They need a solution that is reliable, strong, and safe. And so that is what we're going to show you today. So I'm going to start by telling you about the existing challenges in the ESS space. So these are 4 challenges that exist for C&I ESS today. And companies that have already put in batteries, or if you've already installed batteries, or if you've worked with them, you'll be familiar with these 4 challenges. The first one is low available capacity. This means that companies are not getting the full capacity that they pay for. They pay for 1 megawatt hour, but they don't have actually 1 megawatt hour to use. Or they pay for 200 kilowatt hours, they don't get a full 200 kilowatt hours. And a big reason for this is cell mismatch. And I'm going to explain this in more detail on the next few slides. But basically, every battery pack is slightly different. They charge at a different speed and they exist at a different state of charge. And this is a problem that causes low available capacity. The second challenge is complex O&M, the operation and maintenance, because the way to fight the loss I've just described is manual state of charge calibration. This means that the operation and maintenance on most C&I batteries means that you have to have specialized battery technicians go to the site and manually balance all of the battery packs. Because each one is different, they have to be balanced manually. This is expensive, it's slow, it's difficult. You have to shut down the battery during that time, so it causes downtime, and it's manual, so there's human errors. It's not exact. So this is a big challenge in the industry, is the complex and expensive O&M. A third challenge is the short lifespan. Batteries are generally not lasting as long as they should. Batteries are being sold at 10 or even 12-year usable life, but in reality we're seeing 5-year, 6-year, 7-year usable life, much shorter than what these companies are paying for. And this is a big challenge. A lot of it has to do with temperature control. The batteries are not being kept at the right temperature, and this causes them to degrade very quickly. So this is a big challenge. And number 4 is fire risks. If you have been watching the news or paying attention to the solar industry, you will see there are big fires all over the world with these lithium ion batteries. It's a very real danger. So this is something that customers must be aware of. And installers, you also must pay attention to the safety features of the battery, because these fires are very disastrous. They cannot be put out easily. Lithium ion fires are not a normal fire. They typically cannot be extinguished, and they have to let it burn. You have to make a perimeter and let it burn for 5 or 7 days. So they are terrible fires. So these are 4 challenges in the ESS industry that exist today that Huawei is attempting to solve or has greatly solved. So now I'm going to show you the Huawei solution. I'm going to show you the Smart String ESS solution. And I'm going to show you why we call it Smart String ESS. There is a big misconception that all batteries are the same, and this is not true. Ours is Smart String Energy Storage Solution. It has a very big difference than other batteries. So let me show you why we call it Smart String ESS. And we have an analogy to help you understand. And that analogy is with the inverters. Many of you are familiar with a central inverter. 10 years ago, this was the mainstream, and most of projects around the world were using central inverters. So this is one large inverter. It could be 1 megawatt or even 3 megawatts or 3.5 megawatts in one inverter. That's why it's called central inverter. But what you get is over 2,000 panels per megawatt connected to this inverter. And it probably has only one MPPT. So it is very inefficient. You get high panel mismatch. There's challenging O&M. It uses consumable parts, and you have to have engineers stay on site, and it has poor monitoring and poor fault detection. So what happened was the industry responded with the Smart String Inverter. So these are string inverters. They are smaller, and they connect to each other, and they work intelligently together as one inverter. So now instead of one inverter for 1 megawatt, you could have these 3 inverters that are 330 kilowatt, and they connect to each other and they work intelligently together. And what you get is up to 100 times more MPPTs per megawatt. You get low panel mismatch, high efficiency. You get simple O&M, and enhanced monitoring and safety. So basically, this is a superior option. And the market has responded because every year, string inverters are taking more and more market share away from central inverters because of all the advantages. Now, the same thing is happening with ESS. Right now, the conventional solution is centralized ESS. And what you get is over 1,000 cells per megawatt hour are connected in series and in parallel. And you get cell mismatch. And this causes high loss. It This solution requires periodic manual O&M, as I've described earlier. And it's also difficult to identify failures. It's difficult to do troubleshooting, and it has poor safety features. So this is the conventional energy storage solution on the market. What Huawei is showing you today is the Smart String ESS. It is similar to the Smart String Inverter because what you have now is independent control, excuse me, independent control of battery packs and racks, more safety, longer life, more usable energy, simplified O&M. Now, we can't predict the future, but what we guess, our best guess, is that the market will respond in the same way as the Smart String Inverter. Huawei is the first company to offer this Smart String ESS solution. We predict in the next 2 to 3 years, there will be more manufacturers who follow Huawei. They will start offering this solution. And we predict the trend will be to Smart String ESS, away from the centralized ESS. So now on the screen, you can see our C&I ESS product range. So on the left side, we have the Power S. And you can see the perfect range for the Power S is between 30 kilowatt hours to 100 kilowatt hours of capacity. And I'll explain this product in more detail, but this is our smaller C&I ESS solution. Then in the center, you can see the Luna 200 kilowatt hour. And actually, this is now available in 100 kilowatt hour size as well. So if you're between 100 kilowatt hours up to 1 megawatt hour, even beyond, this is the perfect product for you. And then towards the utility side, we have 1 megawatt hour and 2 megawatt hour containerized solutions. Sometimes this is also C&I, right? It depends on your customer. But if you're doing a large utility scale, definitely that's the right product for you. And C&I, it could also be used depending on your customer. So these are the products I'm going to show you today. But first, I'm going to show you what is inside our battery pack, because that is what makes it the Smart String ESS. We're going to look inside the battery pack. So these are the battery packs. Inside, we have the energy optimizer. This is a very key part of the battery, and this is why we have so many advantages. So now I'm going to show you what the energy optimizer does, and I'm going to tell you 4 advantages of the energy optimizer. The first advantage is that it gives you more usable energy because our battery is able to be fully charged. Let me show you what I mean. On the left side, we have the conventional energy storage solution, and on the right side, we have the Huawei Smart String ESS. Both of these solutions have many battery packs that are connected to each other. But in the conventional energy storage solution, as I mentioned before, every battery pack is slightly different. Every battery pack will charge at a slightly different speed, and every battery pack will have a slightly different state of charge. So when you are charging your battery with the conventional energy storage solution, as soon as the first battery reaches 100%, it must stop charging all the others because it does not want to overcharge the full one because that will cause a fire. So Even though the other battery packs are not fully charged, it must stop when the first one reaches 100%. So you can see on the image there, one of the battery packs is full, but the others are not. They may have 94%, 93%, 91%, 89, 87. It doesn't matter. That is lost capacity because it cannot be fully charged. It's lost energy for the consumer. However, with the Huawei solution, that is no longer the case. Even when the first battery pack reaches 100, the other battery packs can continue to charge and they can all be fully charged. So Huawei's solution is able to be fully charged because of the battery optimizer. This gives you up to 15% more usable energy. But even more than that, when you have the conventional energy storage solution, you have this loss I've just described. The answer is the manual state of charge calibration. That means you have to send battery technicians to the site with their tools and equipment, and they will manually balance the batteries again. So that is how you reduce the loss. However, that exercise is slow, it's difficult, it is expensive. It has to happen frequently because every day that the battery operates, the difference in the state of charge will grow. So the longer you wait to do this manual SOC balancing, that means the more loss you're gaining. Every single day, you're getting more loss. So you have to do this SOC calibration at least every 6 months, maybe even every 2 months. So this is expensive. And please, when you speak to other battery manufacturers, ask them about this because typically they won't come and tell you this because they know it's bad. Please ask them, what is your O&M requirement on this type of battery? And as I mentioned earlier, when you do this SOC balancing, you have to shut down the battery. So that causes downtime as well. So that's a big problem for the conventional energy storage solution. With Huawei's solution, you don't need to do that because the SOC balancing happens every day automatically through the BMS. You do not need to go to site and manually balance the batteries. This will reduce your O&M costs as much as 80%. So it is a big advantage. A second advantage of the optimizer is fault isolation. So what I mean by that is in a conventional energy storage solution, if you have a faulty battery, the entire performance of the battery will go down significantly. The performance of the entire battery will reduce because you have one faulty pack. With Huawei's solution, when you have a faulty pack, first of all of the other battery packs will continue to work 100%. Second of all, you will get an alarm in your monitoring system and it will tell you exactly where that fault is. And third of all, our battery supports hot swap, which means you do not need to shut down the battery in order to replace this faulty unit. You can simply slide out the faulty pack, slide in a new pack. That's all you need to do. So again, with a conventional solution, if you have one faulty pack, there are some products on the market that will shut down completely with one faulty pack. Other products on the market will only perform at a greatly reduced figure. Even with one battery pack faulty, the performance of the entire system will reduce. And then you have to go to site and you have to look for the problem because it won't identify where the problem is. So you have to begin the manual troubleshooting while you're doing this, make the replacement, switch it back on. It's a very bad experience. With the Huawei solution, all of the other battery packs will continue to work perfectly. So your performance is only reduced a small bit for the one pack that is faulty. Second of all, you get an alarm that tells you exactly which pack is faulty. So there's no searching that you have to do. And third of all, you don't have to shut down the battery. You can remove the faulty unit, slide in the new unit very quickly. So it doesn't even require specialized battery technicians. In fact, you can even keep spares on site, and so this could keep minimum downtime. The third benefit of the optimizer is pack level monitoring and safety. So our battery packs have at least 13 temperature sensors inside each pack. They also have 16 voltage sensors. So we are monitoring the temperature and the voltage at the pack level, even the cell level. And if there is a problem detected, if there's any thermal runaway, if there's any overheating or over voltage, our system can identify the problem and bypass itself automatically, because you don't want to continue using that battery if there's a problem, because it could end up in a fire. So we have pack level monitoring and safety, automatic fault isolation, and automatic bypass, so that you don't overheat, you don't have a catastrophe. And a fourth benefit, which is actually very important benefit, is flexible expansion. You can mix new and old batteries with Huawei products without losing performance. With a conventional energy storage solution, it is not advisable to mix new and old batteries, because your old batteries will limit your new batteries. So I think we're all aware, if you have any experience with batteries, we should be aware that batteries degrade naturally over time. So over time, a battery loses capacity. It's natural. It happens to all batteries in the world. So with a conventional energy storage solution, because they don't have the energy optimizer, if you install a system today and then maybe 4 years later you want to expand, or even 2 years later, your old batteries have degraded and now they are going to limit your new batteries. So it doesn't make sense. You're wasting money to do that expansion that way. So let's look at an example. If your customer has a requirement that, let's say in year 10, they have to have 10 megawatt hours of capacity. The normal way of doing this is you have to calculate the degradation backwards. And that means on day one, you have to install 16.7 megawatt hours. You have to oversize drastically. With the Huawei solution, you have another option. You can do something like this. You could install maybe 11 megawatt hours on day one. And then at year 3, you can expand, add another one. Maybe year 6, add another one. Year 9, add another one. The point is that the new batteries will not be limited by the old batteries. So you can add capacity anytime you want. Flexible expansion. And in this scenario I've just described, that is a planned scenario. What about an unplanned expansion? Let's say your customer grows faster than they predicted, and after 3 years, they need more battery capacity. Wouldn't it be wonderful to have a product where you can simply add more capacity instead of trying to redesign your whole system, or doing complicated designs and expensive equipment and expensive shuffling? With the Huawei solution, you can simply add capacity at any time. You will not be limited by your weakest battery. So those are 4 main benefits of the optimizer. So now I'm going to go very quickly through some other product features. And by the way, everything I have said so far and everything I will say applies to all of our products. So all of our products have this optimizer technology. So right now on the screen is the 2 megawatt hour battery, and it applies equally to the others. So you can see we have the pack level optimization I've already described, but we also have rack level optimization. So those red rectangles on the right are the rack optimizers. The big ones are the racks, which are all optimized at that level. It also has an automatic deployed fire extinguish system inside. So here again is the 1 megawatt hour, 2 megawatt hour, and it has built-in air conditioners. But what's very unique about these air conditioners is they are distributed and independent, which means they can work independently of each other. They're not centralized air conditioner with one control. Each of them can control itself. Let me tell you why that is very important. Because within the same cabinet, the same container, you can have temperature differences as much as 10 degrees Celsius, especially if these are outside and they're exposed to the sun, because the sun will hit one side only and that side will become hotter than the other side. So you can see on the image there on the left, you might have temperature 27 degree on this corner, 33 degree on the other corner, 30 over here, different temperatures within the same cabinet. If you have a centralized air conditioner that cannot respond to these temperature differences, and inevitably your batteries are going to suffer. Huawei's solution has distributed and independent air conditioners. They can respond to temperature differences within the cabinet. Therefore, we can keep our batteries within 3 degrees Celsius of 25 degrees Celsius, the STC, standard temperature Celsius. So we can keep our batteries within 3 degrees Celsius of the ideal temperature. This will give you a longer life, up to 50% longer life. So instead of 5, 6, 7 year useful life, we're talking about 10, 12, even 15-year useful life. So this is a very big advance to solve that problem of the industry. And our safety, I've mentioned just a couple features. We have the pack level monitoring. We have automatic fire extinguish devices built into our cabinets. We have our battery management system has AI built into it. It monitors the power curves of each battery, looking for potential faults, any short circuits, and anything like that. We also have very strong structures, so they're not easily damaged. Here's an image of a fire, just to let you know that this is a real issue. And you can see that's not an easy fire to put out. Here is one that was in South Africa about 90 days ago. Look at that fire. That's not a normal fire. It's continually igniting itself. It's almost impossible to extinguish that fire. You probably have to build a perimeter and let it burn for 5 to 7 days. So this is a very real danger with these batteries. Here's a very short example of what happens when batteries are punctured. On the left is a different manufacturer. You can see it has been punctured. There is gas leaking right now, and it's about to ignite. There it goes. So it has ignited. And on the right side is the same test with Huawei. You can see it's about to be punctured. Now it is deploying the automatic fire extinguish device, and it is sucking the oxygen out of that area, and it is not going to ignite. And here's another example of here. This one is it's called extrusion. So this is a blunt object. So for example, if it is hit by run over by a car or something, blunt force. On the left side is conventional battery manufacturer. You can see it's about to burst and ignite once again. You can see that's very dangerous. And on the right side, Huawei battery, it's a very strong container, and it also has built-in fire extinguish device to prevent it from igniting. So those are just two of the safety features. And because of everything I've said so far, this is why Huawei products have been used on the world's largest microgrid project. So this is a project in Saudi Arabia. It is 1.3 gigawatt hours. That means 1,300 megawatt hours of capacity. They are using Huawei technology I've just shown you. It is in Saudi Arabia, which means it's very hot. It is near the ocean, so it is very humid and salty air. It's also windy and dusty. So it's a very harsh environment. And they chose Huawei technology because they are sure that it's going to work in this difficult, harsh environment. Okay, now here is our 200 kilowatt hour battery. This is our C&I battery. It has everything I've said so far applies to this battery, this cabinet as well. Here is our rack controller. It comes attached, so it's a very small footprint. Here is our air conditioners. They come built in and ready to go, comes prefabricated. And it also comes with our PCS, which is a 100 kilowatt bi-directional inverter. Here it is when the cabinet is open. You can see our battery packs. I've already described them to you. So when it is full like this is 200 kilowatt hours. But if you need 100 kilowatt hours, you can have half of the battery packs out. And it can also work with, so the sizes are 100 kilowatt hours, 133 kilowatt hours, 166 kilowatt hours, and 200 kilowatt hours. And it's scalable, so you can have multiple units of this. So if you need 400 kilowatt hours, you can have 2 of these. If you need 800, you can have 4 of these. So it's flexible for your needs. This is a look at our PCS, just to let you know that it is a modular PCS. The reason we do this is to eliminate one point of failure. There are some manufacturers that have a centralized PCS, but if something goes wrong, the entire system shuts down. So ours is modular, which eliminates a single point of failure. Here's our transformer station and our control units, but I'm not going to go into that in detail. I'd like to point out everything that we have shown you can be monitored on a single app, a single monitoring platform for everything. Even the diesel generator can be monitored on our NetEco platform. So you can see the solar generation, your battery capacity, your grid consumption, the overall output, the state of charge, the state of health. You can see how much your return on investment is on a single app. And other solutions will have you use multiple vendors on the same site. You could have 3 or 4 different manufacturers on a single installation. You'll have 3 or 4 different apps. It's a nightmare. The communication, the installation, the commissioning will be very difficult. Also, the troubleshooting will be very difficult. And especially if it gets to a warranty issue, you're going to have 3 different manufacturers blaming the other one, and no one is going to accept responsibility. When you have an end-to-end solution like Huawei, the installation, the commissioning, the communication is flawless. When you have troubleshooting, it's very easy. And when you have a warranty issue, it's one company who holds the warranty. So we are happy to take care of that. Some other advantages are that this is grid forming, which means it can output the desired frequency and voltage that you need. It comes prefabricated for the easiest installation. The remote monitoring and control, as I've said, on a single app. Enhanced safety that I've only just touched on, but it's a very significant advantage. The end-to-end solution makes everything easy, and the local support, because we have team members in your area. We're in your time zone, in your country. We speak your language. You can WhatsApp us, you can email us, you can call us. We have training materials and so much more. This is our Red Sea project I mentioned in Saudi Arabia, the world's largest. But this is a project here in Ghana that I really like because it's very innovative. It's a hydropower plant that uses floating solar and our ESS, the Huawei ESS. So it's very innovative. I really like this project. Right now, it's only 10 megawatt hours, but it's going to expand to 30 megawatt hours. And the last thing I'm going to show you, I'm not going to show you our string inverters. I'm not going to show you our PV optimizer today. I'm going to show you our Power S very quickly because it is a very innovative product. Here it is, the Power S, and there it is. It is all in one. So everything you need is within those cabinets. We have an indoor version and an outdoor version. The outdoor version is IP55, so it's waterproof and dustproof. It comes with built-in air conditioners. So you can put this anywhere and it's good to go. You don't even need to lay a concrete foundation. You can simply put it and go. The indoor version on the right requires a temperature-controlled environment and it's waterproof and dust-proof environment. So the main advantage or the unique feature of this product is that it's all in one. Everything is within the cabinet and it's modular. So within the cabinet, it can accept the grid and it can accept the diesel generator. And of course, it can accept the solar panels as well. Because it's modular, it's easy to install and it's easy to expand and to design exactly to your needs. This will give you a seamless switchover in less than 20 milliseconds. It can also control your diesel generator and it can be deployed in as little as 1 day. So it comes with the cables pre-integrated. This is what it looks like when it arrives. So it's ready to slide in the modules and go. To show you the flexible expansion, this is what I mean. The configuration that you see on your screen is 12 kVA of inverters with 1 hour of storage. So it's 10 kilowatts of inverters with 10 kilowatts of storage. But you can see the cabinet has lots of empty space. So if you want to expand to, let's say, 36 kVA with 1 hour of storage, so that's 25 kilowatts with 25 kilowatt hours, you simply add the units that are missing. So you can see on the right now there's less empty space because it's being filled with more modules. The inverters are modular. The batteries are modular. The rectifiers are modular. You add more capacity, you add more inverter modules or more battery modules as needed. This is an animation showing you what the installation can look like because it comes pre-integrated. You just slide in the modules, do some small settings, and you're good to go. It supports hot swap, so you don't have to switch off the unit to do maintenance or expand. It can control your diesel generator, so there's no need for a third-party EMS. And this can all be monitored again on one, it can all be monitored on a single platform. So I think many of you are familiar with the type of installation on the on the left. Wires everywhere, very complicated, 3 or 4 different manufacturers on that site. It takes up a lot of space. It's ugly. It's not safe. And you can see the 4 TV screens on the top represent 4 different monitoring systems for your solar, your battery, your diesel generator, your overall system. Ours has a small footprint. Everything is within one cabinet. It's easy to install, and it can be monitored from a single platform. We believe in our products so much that they are installed at our Huawei office. In Johannesburg, we have both of these products, the Power S and the Luna. Here's an example of the Power S in Nigeria at a bank. Here's an example of the Power S in Nigeria at an apartment building. So with that, I just want to review the product range. This is my last slide. So we see the Power S is on the left side for the smaller C&I. The limitation is actually 72 kilowatts of power. So if your max load is below 72 kilowatts, then this is perfect for you. The Luna 200 sits in the center, but it can actually be 100 kilowatt hours and it's flexible. You can scale it up as you needed. And if you need the larger size, we have the Luna megawatt hour, 200 megawatt hour. Smart String ESS. Remember, not all batteries are the same. This one has many advantages that I've shown you today. So this was really just an introduction. If you have more questions, please reach out to us. We can go into more detail, more technical features. We have videos, we have case studies, we have data sheets, we have documents, whatever you need. So I hope you leave today's webinar understanding that not all batteries are the same, that Huawei's ESS solution, the Smart String ESS, is actually a different level of technology than the other batteries on the market. And if your customers need high safety, high reliability, low O&M costs, and if you as an installer want a product that is reliable with a strong warranty, with strong local support and low O&M costs, then this is the right solution for you. Thank you very much for your time. With that, I believe we will go into some questions.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Nick. Nick, we've got quite a lot of questions, and roughly speaking, they fall into 2 buckets. Questions about technical topics and questions about commercial topics. I start with the technical parts. Verde is asking a very important question about end of life of batteries. We know this topic from the solar panels from a few years ago. In Europe, there is an entire system called PV cycle to recycle solar panels. Most probably, this will be adopted in Africa as well in the coming years. What about batteries? Who is doing what? What can we foresee?
Well, the battery recycling industry or sector is still a bit young. There are some interesting advances going on. That is outside of Huawei's scope. I mean, our batteries are capable of being recycled, but we don't provide that service. It's up to the end user to find their own choice of, recycling processes and organizations.
A question, technical, from Cynthia. Okay, you've talked, of course, a lot about Huawei solutions, but there's a lot of people out there with an existing PV system, and maybe they did not make the original choice for storage. Now they're thinking about it, but they have their system already in place with or without Huawei inverters. How does that combine with the solutions that you've shown?
Yes, that's a good question. Thank you. The Huawei products I've shown you today accept AC power, and it doesn't matter where that AC power comes from. So it could come from the grid, or it could come from a Huawei string inverter, or it could come from any other inverter. So these are capable with third-party inverters for any existing solar system.
From Jeremy, do you have your own EMS or is it like a third-party EMS?
Another good question. Thank you. So the Power S has a built-in EMS. You do not need a third-party EMS for the Power S. However, for the Luna, it does not have an EMS, and it does require a third-party EMS if you are integrating diesel generators. So just to repeat, the Power S does not require third-party EMS. It has a generator controller built in. But the Luna, if you are integrating the Luna with diesel generators, you do require third-party EMS.
Question from Christian. You mentioned briefly about comparison with competitors and about warranties. What is your warranty actually?
So the warranty varies from region to region. So it will be different in South Africa, East Africa, or West Africa. So I don't want to say the wrong answer here. I know we are international. So please send your inquiry to Huawei. Tell us where your project is, and we can give you the warranty information.
Then a question of my own, trying to play devil's advocate here. At some point in your presentation, you mentioned about the flexible expansion, which is indeed quite important. But isn't this true for all lithium-based storage solutions, or is there something special about your solutions that you would like to highlight?
Yes. So in a conventional lithium ion or any battery, lead acid or lithium ion, um, as I've said, they degrade naturally over time, right? And when you don't have the optimizer, you are limited by your weakest battery in that series. So when you have a battery that you've used for 2 or 3 years, okay, the performance is down now, it's probably below 90%. And if you install new batteries, you will be limited by the old batteries. So the new batteries could not perform more than your weakest old battery in the conventional solution. Because of our smart string solution with the optimizer, every battery pack operates independently. Every battery pack will operate at its own maximum and it will be fully charged and fully discharged. Therefore, you can expand flexibly. The old batteries will not limit your new batteries. So that is the main difference. So yeah, flexible for surprise expansion, or if you're planning to add capacity in the future. With the conventional solution, It's not advised to mix new and old batteries. And please feel free to ask other manufacturers in your, if you're getting quotations or looking at products. If they're honest with you, they'll tell you the same. With Huawei, you can add new batteries to the old batteries without losing performance.
Very clear. And then before we move on to somewhat more commercial slash financial questions, I would like to take a very interesting last technical question from Bassam. Suppose the inverter is running at full load and the PV is also at full production and the battery is 100% charged. What happens?
Okay, so with the Luna, well, that excess energy could, it depends on where you are and what you want. The excess solar could charge the loads directly or power the loads directly, for example. So you could be powering your loads from the sun without um, coming from the battery. Or if you're allowed to feed back to the grid, that could feed back to the grid, depending on your local regulations. Um, so yeah, that's a case by case answer.
Moving on to more commercial topics. There were several questions on this topic, but I'll just take the question from Abdoulaye from Senegal, asking about your presence in Francophone West Africa. How are you covering this part of Africa? And maybe you can expand on how you work across the rest of the continent.
Yes, we are there. Um, so we have offices in Senegal and in Francophone Africa. So feel free to reach out to us. We'll put you in touch with the local team there. We have teams all across Africa.
And when you say teams, you mean Huawei teams, or you work with preferred partners, installers? How? My question is, who should people reach out to? Should they reach out to you, or should they reach out to their local installer?
They can reach out to us first. We have staff on the ground. We have an office in almost every country in Africa. So that's a great place to start. And from there, depending on your needs and requirements, we can guide you accordingly.
And then still in West Africa, we got a question from Olufemi. Olufemi is developing a mini grid with a special application and feels like he might require some technical assistance to do sizing, to do analysis of the project. Is this something that you guys get involved with, or should he be reaching out to somebody?
I think he could start with us. We're usually happy to do, designs and help optimize and make sure customers are using the right equipment in the right way. Um, so yeah, please feel free to reach out to us and, we'll guide you accordingly. We'll help you with the designs and we'll introduce you to anyone else who's needed.
Other question, commercial. Your solutions right now, are they available everywhere in Africa? Do you have them in stock? And if not, what is like the waiting time that people should enter?
Yes, so I think generally we have stock available in East Africa, West Africa, and Southern Africa, in Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa. So that can also be distributed, regionally. If the local stock is not available, our delivery time, production time can be around 8 weeks, 8 to 10 weeks. So then it depends on where you're going, to deliver it. But generally, production time could be 8 to 10 weeks if it's not available locally.
Very good. Still commercial considerations. At some point in your presentation, you spoke about PV and storage reaching grid parity. Um, can you maybe elaborate a little bit on this, like how you analyze this? Because the situation, the cost of electricity, various inputs for generating power are not necessarily the same in every country. So how do you evaluate this? How should people also look at it from their specific situation where they're based?
Yes, that's a good question. It is a little bit tricky when you're involving storage, because you need to have your best estimate of your um, lifespan and your usable energy. So, for example, this is just off the top of my head, a residential storage solution, for example, you might be able to get, I don't know, 10 megawatt hours out of the life of that, over a 10-year period. So then you need to calculate the price of the grid, but you need to try to guess where it's going to go in the future. And, it rises, let's say 15% every year. And you need to take in other costs too, in case there's cost of blackout, if you lose income or anything like that. And if you have a diesel generator, you have to estimate how many kilowatt hours you're getting from the diesel, how many from the grid. You have to estimate the price of today, where the price is going, any operation and maintenance, etc. So that is a complicated calculation. But it's something that we've been doing as manufacturers. We do this a lot. In Europe, we have reached parity. In every country, it's slightly different because the price of grid changes, the availability of grid changes, the price of diesel is different, currency exchange is different. So it's complicated, but we're happy to help you get there. We can definitely do ballparks with you and look in more detail if you need it.
Now I'll take one last question, which is a question that we got from several listeners. Abdullah Etop, asking about, if I understand the question correctly, about sizing and defining what storage capacity is actually needed on a specific project. Do you have tools, software for the sizing, for the design of the energy storage solutions, like currently some of your competitors may be making available?
We do. We do have an online Huawei design system. It's called Smart Design 2.0. And we actually do entire webinars just on that design system. So we're happy to share some documentation to tell you how to access it and how to use it. There's definitely not enough time right now, but we're happy to share that information. And please, if you're interested, look for when we do our next webinar on that topic.
Yeah, of course, we will be sharing your contact details with everybody. We'll be sharing your presentation as well in case something went a little bit fast so that people can follow up. And before I close this, you still have a few minutes to ask your last minute questions, which I will share with Nick, and then you can address them later on offline. Um, One question that we did not receive today, but which I think is quite important, is always like cost and financing. Some of you may have seen a few comments in the chat section from people from the Odyssey Energy Solutions team. They have some very interesting solution to help you finance those projects working together with Huawei. So if you are looking to develop such a project with one of your clients and you're looking for financing solutions, definitely warmly advise you to get in touch with the Odyssey Energy team. Brings us almost to the end of our presentation. I would like to do a little bit of promotion now. We've got some great things coming up in the coming weeks and months, which hopefully you will also find interesting. First of all, I want to tell you about our new program, which we will be rolling out next year, which is the Solar Training for Africa. We will be visiting different key solar hubs in Africa, meeting with local installers, EPC companies, together with equipment manufacturers like Nick, but covering all essentials of solar installation in an effort to really bring in under one roof in one day all the key updates about all the essential elements of the BOS of your systems, so that you don't spend too much time and you get all the latest updates on equipment and best practices for installation. So stay tuned. If you're in the installation business, this is definitely something of interest to you. We are coming finally to Nigeria next year. We will be there several times, and the first event that we will be organizing is the Powerlec Nigeria Exhibition and Conference. It will be taking place in February from the 20th till the 22nd. It's going to be a big show. So for anybody who is already active in Nigeria or people who are looking at opportunities in Nigeria, this is really the place to be in the coming months. Later on this year, later on 2024, we will be back in Nigeria, but in November this time with our conference and exhibition REFA, still addressing all key topics of renewable energy, but with a stronger taste of getting projects financed. And then, of course, we will have our annual AVSIA Solar Awards, and this will be in combination with the REFA conference. So it will be a big celebration, big party in Lagos, and I hope to see any of you there. This is it for today. I would like to thank all the people who took the time to join us today to listen to you and to learn a bit more about what is possible nowadays with regards to energy storage. And yeah, I wish you an excellent rest of the day and hope to see you again very soon.